humanity is waging war on nature, and we need to rebuild our relationship with it. One consequence of our imbalance with nature is the emergence of deadly diseases such as HIV/AIDS, Ebola, and now COVID-19, against which we have little or no defense.
I was always off to places like Delhi to find support for my projects to raise the awareness of the importance of tribal storytelling and the indigenous knowledge contained in the stories. My research project was put on hold indefinitely with the unexpected news of the COVID-19 pandemic. On 24th of March 2020, the Prime Minister ordered a nationwide lockdown for 21 days, affecting the entire 1.3 billion population of India. Every day here is the same now. It's hard to motivate myself day in and day out. Sometimes I lose track of the days and even who I am and what my life was supposed to be about. The United Nations General Assembly President reported that 13 million hectares of forest are lost. He made his point that a green recovery from the COVID-19 pandemic, with an emphasis on protecting biodiversity, can help unlock an estimated $10 trillion in business opportunities. The Art of the Northeast Frontier of India by Verya Elwin has some pictures of the Wancho art. This is a Wancho basket decorated with carved heads and figure of a warrior. Some more Wancho heads. And this picture here, this is of a wood carving on a ladder in the Morong at Mintong village. Now this one really got my imagination going from an animation point of view, this one, because I really like this concept of the multiple heads. At first, the Wanchos in the village, like everyone else, panicked when they heard the media reports. However, the villagers continued living normally their healthy life. I've started a project to record and study the folklore of the Wancho people. The stories were passed down by word of mouth from one generation to the next. According to the stories, diseases were caused by angry spirits. It would take the local priest to determine what ritual was needed to pacify the spirits and remedy the situation. I could ask, what is the point of a ritual? Certainly medicine prescribed by a doctor should be taken when a person is ill. Is it a case of one solution over the other? Importantly, it was the sense that something could be done. Another tradition was to isolate themselves when it was necessary to avoid the transmission of contagious diseases. Isolation was not only prescribed for physical diseases, but it could also apply to maladjustments of character. For example, a thief could be isolated so as not to pass on the trait of dishonesty. Because many tribal communities lived an isolated existence until quite recently, they were vulnerable to infectious diseases to which they had no immunity. And in August, the alarming news was that several of the last remaining Andamanese people had contacted COVID-19. It would be rash to assume that these tribal communities are physically weak. In fact, it was quite the opposite. Their self-sufficiency was the source of their strength and resilience. The Wanchos, like many tribal communities, live from the land by growing food for their own needs.
stem is a red color and this one is green. So generally when we take out the roots of this tapioca, this kind is a red color tapioca and that is a white color. The root is white color. Similarly, this variety of tapioca has red color root.
Which one is tastier?
Tasty, this one. It's more tastier and it cooks very quickly.
What are you digging there?
Ginger. Okay, enough. This is ginger.
We will take out this soft portion of the leaf and boil it with some traditional ingredients like bamboo shoot and ginger and many things, and it will be a very delicious one. This is a tapioca leaf.
This is called oma, and we used to eat this when we feel thirsty and tired, and it's very tasty. Would you like to taste it?
It's a handmade filter. Handmade filter for tea.
Sometimes it is insufficient, and in their stories we heard graphic accounts of periods of terrible famine. This would be a reason for why sharing food is central to their tradition. Community feasts are so important, and great care is taken over dividing the meat equally at any celebration. The more time I spend in the village community, the more I learn about the wisdom that has been passed down from the elders. These are the grandparents and the parents in the village. This indigenous knowledge is fragile, and it's threatened by the tremendous impact of information from the outside world. Modern education replaces traditional knowledge transmission, and to generate income, the young people will need business opportunities and employment. Diversity is a vital resource for our world, so let's do what we can to help them sustain their cultural knowledge. I'm going to read a little bit here from this book, The Ninu Massacre by Nefa Wangsa, about the Wanchos and about the Wangham, the chief, because this is going to be the chief in the animation film. This here is the present chief of Ninu village, Mr. Longwang Wangham. In the picture, he is wearing the traditional chief's attire. He is wearing this loincloth, and he's got these two sashes made of beads. These are armbands made from ivory, and two wide bracelets made of cowrie shells. On his leg is another very important detail. This is a string of blue beads that only the chief is entitled to wear. The advice from the World Health Organization for looking after our mental health during this time of COVID has been to try to reduce how much you watch, read or listen to news that makes you feel anxious or distressed. Surprisingly, I have at last received the required protected area permit, and soon I will be off to the Wancho village to record the stories that are only remembered and told by the elders. While I'm there, I'm also going to work with some younger people to see if we can adapt one of the stories for a short animated film, so that they become interested in their stories again.